Hello. Everyone on the stream can actually, or the recording can actually see what's happening before the others can, but ignore that for the time being. As I go back to the Lapsus map that everybody else is at. So, welcome everybody to another episode of the Shadow Guardians. In the last session, the party had made their way to Citiver and had been figuring out the situations around the town, or the city, I should say, as they were checking Ishin into the hotel, as well as getting a lay of the kind of land and the general decorum and attitude seen around the area, as many people from many different groups and factions are. Why are you blurry? There we go. Okay, map was blurry for a moment. Sorry. But as many people from many different factions and foundries were all here in Citiver for the Peace Summit, organized by Ishin and a few of the other leaders, well, the Consortium Council and such. To that end, after having a few disputes with with a specific member of the Consortium Council, and getting acquainted with a few other of the members of them, as well as a few people in the military, leading the military branches, the party proceeded to try to relax as best as they could during that last day before the summit would truly commence in the following day. However, relaxing did not go exactly as planned, as Titus discovered that one of his formerly one of his old friends and former cohorts in his previous Silver Lotus gang might not only be alive, but also be part of the organization that is currently about to cause a ruckus in the town, or in the city, on the following day. On top of that, after a conversation with Macy, one of the Forge Master leaders as part of the Consortium, Imiko, I believe it was Imiko, Apani, and Latricia began to kind of deliberate on some weird things they had been noticing throughout the day, as it pertained to people with these weird red hawk symbols on parts of their bodies. And after some theories and some, we'll say, warranted accusations, Macy proceeded later that night to tell them that it seemed some members of the Control Guard that are part of this Red Hawk group known as the Altus regime might be planning some type of grand burning event, or cleansing event as they call them, nearby in the town or in the city somewhere. And it seems like it might be centered around the Memorems, the more squalid or poor Memorem area, where most of the refugees and other people have gathered as of the recent events in the Consortium. Believing that this would be quite bad if it would, of course, happen, resulting in many people that were many innocent people that were dead, the party decided to consult with Lyshishka and a few others, and elected to have most of the guild forces that were going to be stationed at the summit shifted over towards that area of the town, or of the city, to kind of inhibit any types of actions that could be made there, or if there were any actions that were made there, they could react to them well. This, however, would mean that it would leave not as many guild members, as well as a few other groups, lacking as it came to the defense of the summit. However, the guild was assured by the party that they would manage to cover without the extra assistance. Outside of that, though, Titus decided to have a conversation with Ishin later that night, and somewhat square some things as it pertained to what Ishin knows about Titus and why he made the decisions he did in regards to Titus's records in the Memorem files and such like that, and showing that he was believed dead and such. Through this conversation, Titus also learned of Ishin's, we'll say, mistake, as he puts it, as well as his former friend, now potentially turned threat, a man named, I almost said Tahari Hakma, I'm sorry. That's not who I was talking about. What is his name? It's Hawari something. Hawari in Watar. The former friend and head of the Watar house for Memorem. However, while this man is believed to have been deceased, there is some question about that fact, it seems. And this question perhaps may get an answer soon, or sooner rather than later. But besides that point, after showing him how, I guess, that falling out happened, through a mental link that Ishin was able to kind of transfer his memories and experience over to Titus for a moment, it seems that everyone is now just getting ready to prepare for what festivities may await everyone. As now the party has two names of threats in the Consortium proper. The Altus regime, of course, a ultra-nationalist group known for their quite intolerant ideals of a pure Lapsus that does not very much include many species that many of the party might even be inclined in. And another group, a group that seems to have a burning hatred and vengeance, a karmic desire towards the Consortium and those others that harmed Memorem in the past and potentially still seek its harm to this day, known as Memorem Retribution. And that's where we begin. Well, we'll begin today with the summit. At this point, all of you have arrived at your specific guard positions. I haven't moved you to the map yet, but you are effectively stationed in the kind of central area.
The other one.
What was that? Sorry? Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he's talking to me. Never mind. But yes, you guys are stationed in the effectively what would be south of the building, but it's kind of like if you're looking towards the summit, you guys are like basically the first line or area where the main park area is leading into the summit, like the theater hall, effectively. There are a couple of large walkways that go around, hedges and things like that strewn about. It is a quite decent park. It is a little bit being damaged because of all the heavy materials and armored knights walking around at the moment. This place isn't necessarily built for armored knight walking, but you know, we're in a little bit of a drastic situation here. At the moment, you are aware of the general defenses kind of around the area. I am getting... What is happening right now? I am getting DM'd by a random person. Okay, cool. We'll just ignore that for the time being. The bot spam, it comes. But yes, in terms of the guard detail, you know that within the building is... what is her name? I am so sorry. Relka? Yes, Relka Hakma, who is, of course, Tahari's daughter. Seems to be very much, what's the word I'm looking for? Not respectful. Apologies. Today's session, my brain is a bit cooked, so I might not be able to provide the best descriptions for things. She is, generally speaking, quite respected in their force, and also is very, she has a lot of admiration for Ishin, as it's seen. Another person as well that seems to be in the building is Brew, actually. He is not outside. He can get outside if he needs to. Along with within the building is, what is it? Oh no, Kaya, never mind. Kaya is not in the building. Kaya is at the docks in the ship with Balin as well as a few of the other engineers. They're kind of doing rounds, like flying around and making sure that they're kind of accompanying the Auroch vein and kind of just giving aerial support in case anything were to happen. What is it? I believe Seiyun is in his armored knight, his new one, the Redeemer. Not Redeemer, Rescue, probably. Sorry, the Rescue. Titus, I believe you are outside. You're not in your new mech. You're just kind of like walking the rounds, probably with Seiyun. nearby. I believe we were still determining who
Yes.
the fourth mech was going to be. If you guys wanted to take one, it would either be Gwendolyn or it would be Apani. And I believe Apani was saying that they were more. They would probably prefer to fight on the ground. I think, is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay, so in that case, we will have Gwendolyn's Vigilance be the unit that is surveying, which kind of works out since it is despite being a heavy unit, very quick in its transformed aircraft form. So she's probably buzzing the area and making sure to keep an eye out on things. Probably going to the sectors that you guys aren't normally stationed at, flying around. Along with other that. There are also 2 Black Gadab units, or not Black Gadab, I'm sorry. That's the ones that you know are the hostile ones. Regular Gadab units that are stationed at the north. Well, from where you guys are, it would be to your left and right, I should say. So your east and west. But when you look at the map, it'll be the north and south when you get onto the map itself. They are accompanied by, it looks like 2 Memorem soldiers each. They don't seem to be doing a lot of movement, just kind of keeping a good general direction and facing that direction and not really changing too much of their position. There are also some there are some Forge Masters that are also stationed at the east and west areas, and there are some Garrison Knights stationed as well along with you guys kind of around the front. In the north, or I guess the back of the building, there are a lot of noblesse. Whatever basically guild forces were remaining are stationed there with the noblesse forces. The Alto seems to not necessarily be inherently at the building, but they're stationed around the town and also in the area where the guild went. I don't believe it had a district name, but the district where the Memorem refugees and other Beastkin people are, the poor district in the west part of the town or city. There's a lot of them over there. In terms of at the docks, there are quite a lot of Tide Pack and Mariners stationed there. There seems to also be a little bit of a dispute. There are some Mariners up where you guys are, and more Tide Pack down at the docks, and it seems like the Tide Pack Mariners get in lots of arguments for some reason, but outside of that, they seem to be kind of doing their jobs well. This place is, I will say, even though there are groups that are not as prevalent in certain sectors, the overall abundance of forces in this area is notable. Like, there are ships flying in the sky and things like that all around. It is very noteworthy that there is a military presence here. You do think it would be quite difficult for someone to get through, though, as you know, it seems like some groups might be embezzled into certain places in Citiver already, which might be where some things arise. But outside of that, general description. I think I'm hearing my echo. Oh, okay. I think we're good. Cool. Let me just pull something up. Ah, here it is. Okay, so let us get some description. So, generally speaking, all of your machines are tuned into the signal, like the radio signal effectively, or transceiver signal, I should say, that allows you to hear what's happening in the building at this moment, right? So, even though you can't not everyone necessarily can see what's happening in the building, you are able to hear, from spokesmen and people that are talking and broadcasting, like, what's happening. And as it goes, effectively, they introduce every council member. It takes a good, even though you guys get there early at around, 9 is when, everyone's kind of nestled in. It doesn't start until really 10. And from there, they're kind of doing introductions of everybody, all the different leaders. So, in general, I will introduce all the leaders as they do. So, they introduce the leaders as, from the Tide Pact, they have Alakul. Alakul is generally, is referred to as the Honor Guards, the head of the Honor Guard, which is effectively the head of the main, offensive military branch for the Tide Pact. They are predominantly marless with a few that are non, but but I would say from the point you're seeing right now, it's pretty much mostly marless all around him. He has 2 guards with him as he walks around and as he is, seen in any types of visualizer devices and stuff like that, any broadcasts that visually show you something. It doesn't necessarily seem like he is... he does not seem like a typical politician in the sense that he looks more like a warrior, like a combatant, than just a regular politician. Which is equally the same as it pertains to the second person from the Tide Pack named Ultra. She seems to be the leader of the Bolstering Current, which is kind of like their support and magic or channeling type of branch of their military. And no, I should clarify as it pertains to the Tide Pack. The Tide Pact is a pseudo-military or militaristic. One sec. Oh, one sec. I gotta charge something real quick. Okay. Yeah, my phone was not charging from my. Oh, it's still not charging. Is the cord plugged in? Yeah. All right, we're good now. Sorry. As I was, yes, the Tide Pact is it is led by a kind of noble family known as the Joes, or the Jows, depending on the which dialect you're speaking with. And they kind of lead with these 3-branch military kind of what is it? They kind of lead with a 3-branch military. I guess you could say, not really dictatorship. Their leaders, their military branch leaders, are voted or assigned by the Joes and also by their own, basically their own branch. However, they do kind of have a more militaristic type of society, where everyone there has done some level of service, most of the time at least 1 year, 1 to 2 years. And generally speaking, they are very rigid in their doctrine and beliefs on things, though with recent events, it seems like that might be changing in some senses. But outside of the general understanding of the Tide Pack, and Ultra, I guess, being the more bolstering current, supportive type of role, she seems to be carrying herself quite nobly and honorably. She's not necessarily she seems to be a lot more outspoken than Alakul is. Whenever there's mention of her, or she seems to be talking with different officials. She also seems to be very pointed with what she says, and where Alakul seems to be, I wouldn't say not pointed, just very... She's more casual and pointed, he's more pointed and, reserved, I guess I would say. But they both kind of share that kind of pointed or more, what's the word I'm looking for? Assertive, I guess would be, on a presence. But yes, outside of them, and don't worry, we're gonna get into what each leader has to say about things shortly. I just want to kind of give a understanding of each leader, who they are and such. Oh, and then in terms of lineage stuff, Alakul is a Marlis, full-breed Marlis. Ultra is assumedly a Porphyllor, and potentially mixed with something else, but it's... She has a rather pointed nose for a Porphyllor. Porphyllors are like dolphins, effectively. Anthropomorphic dolphins. And then she has a rather pointed, we'll say, nose and rather sharp teeth for a Porphyllor, but that's all I'll say. Outside of them, coming from the Consortium, who are introduced next, we have the council. We have 4 council members. One sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 5. Let me see something real quick. Yep. We have Hirata, who is presented, or I believe it's Hirata Keanu, who is presented as a very, very honorable and very, very popular person in the Consortium Council. He is sometimes referred to, we'll say in a positive and negative sense, as the as the Consortium's golden boy. But in general, he seems to carry himself quite well. He seems to be quite he seems to have a lot of hubris about him, and he seems to be quite down to earth with the way he speaks to most people, regardless of who they are. He wears. Funny they mentioned that he's the golden boy because his armor that he wears is actually quite lacking of gold. It is silver and blue, or silver for the most part, with blue underpinnings throughout different sections of it. And he also, notably, unlike other officials you often see here, he is actually wearing a more, we'll say, it looks kind of like a suit. It's like a mixture between a suit of armor and like a more upper echelon like outfit. It looks like it's probably not heavily armored, but it's definitely got padded sections to it. And yeah, it just seems to be something he wears. It doesn't seem to be like anything notably weird about this either. Most like Lapsians you see seem to regard this as a normal feature for how Hirata carries himself. And yes, he is but like I said, he's very much liked. Past him, we have Eric and Vilyada, who come in together. I forgot to say which part of the consortium they represent. I apologize. Hirata represents the Loe Loe Kai section. There are 2 leaders for each for each consortium. There are 10 Consortium Council members, and there are 2 leaders from each main province of the consortium, and there are 5 provinces. So he's currently representing the Loe Loe Kai province by being the one here. There's Eric, who represents the Lapsus province, the central area you guys are in currently. And Vilyada, who's representing the Lapel province, which is the one to the north that's shaped kind of like an arrowhead, if you look on the map. In fact, I will actually move the map slightly so we can see what I'm talking about. Yes. Loe Loe Kai is this one down here that's shaped like a seahorse. Lapel is shaped like an arrowhead up here. Lapis is this one right here. And we'll get to the other ones in a moment. But as it pertains to Eric seems to have himself more like you would expect for like a politician or an official. He's not wearing anything particularly like armored and stuff like that. He has 2 garrison knight members that are beside him. They kind of walk with him, and they seem to be kind of keeping a good doing a good watch of the environment and things around. They don't seem to emote much. Well, actually, no, sorry. You would see them be a little bit more emotive, comparable to some other guards around some other members in a moment. But he seems to be a lot more conversational, jovial, and seems to be a lot more, like, I guess I'd say present, so to speak. Vilyada, who is notable for a very big reason. Oh, sorry, Eric is a human as well. Apologies. But Vilyada is very notable. Vilyada is nearly 9 feet tall. She is a large, black-scaled, with purple accented what looks to be dragonkin. Her height is not lost on the fact that her 2, I guess you could say, guards, one of them seems to be an Alto member based on the attire they wear, probably from the low-tier tribe, and another one seems to be you think they are a consortium, like maybe a garrison knight, but something about their armor is different. They're not wearing like the same types of armor that you see the other garrison's knights, the kind of gilded or silver colors with blue accents. They're wearing kind of like silver with purple and blue, and then a little bit of gold like trim to it. And the design is slightly different as well, and it's also not as heavy as the other garrison knight. It seems to be more of like a medium armor. Their face is exposed, and they also seem to, again, to be a bit more personable. Vilyada has this large staff you can also see on her back, that seems to have like this thrum of energy that you can almost like feel just by looking at it. But besides that, she seems to be also speaking with with many of the people that come by and such, and seems to be also relatively calm and collected. She is less talkative than Eric is. Eric's a lot more talkative, but she's still, around. Past them are the last 2 members, that come in together. They are Chase and Emmanuel. Chase, you all, I'm sure, remember your last little meeting with Chase. Oh, I think I'm hearing my echo again. Okay, I think it's good? Okay. Oh, nope, I heard it again. Pepper, I think it might be coming from your side. Pepper? Okay. Well, we'll assume it's fine until it happens again. Anyway, Chase, also, by the way, feel free to ask any questions as I'm going through this, if you need, or if you want to wait till the end to ask, like, questions about certain people, I can tell you certain little details about them as you're kind of listening in and watching certain things. But yes, Chase is a human, similar to Eric. He does not seem to be the same type of human. Eric seems to be maybe an unmarked human, whereas Chase seems to be a Cayenne human. Where some of his features are just slightly different than Eric's. Chase is wearing a very gaudy attire with lots of bright red and gold and a little bit of blue, but it seems like his outfit has been done up to the nines. He is very much trying to showboat and show off. There's kind of like an aura of like heat that kind of emanates off of some of his shoulder pads. You can see there's like these bright little rubies that are kind of stuck into the central areas of them, and they seem to just be giving off this like eminence of heat. As he goes, he's not necessarily, he's talkative, but he's very pointed in who he talks with. He talks with most of the Consortium or Lapsian related organizations and like media organizations, and he skips over many of the others, we'll say. Kind of, we'll say, tilting his nose at the sight of some things. He also does not really mingle with many of the other leaders unless directly pointed, like it seems like they're in like the same area to do so. Emmanuel, strangely, he seems to be a dwarf, and you can see he's kind of writing something in a book as he's going mostly throughout the day. He's very like reserved and not really talkative to much of any of the media and broadcasters around, and he also seems to be very like maybe kind of, how would I put it? He seems like he's very much lost in thought. And he's not really paying much mind to many things happening around him. And oftentimes he's kind of led by others. He said you got some... Oh, okay. That is fine. I'll get through the descriptions, and we'll see... Do you think you will be gone for the remainder of things, or do you think you'll be gone for just a section of it? Okay, so yeah, the remainder of it. That is fine. We'll get through this part, I think, and then we will, yeah, we'll go through the introduction, and I think we'll stop there then. And I'll update you on, like, things that have happened when that's done. Yeah, we'll splice it up, don't worry. This video will seem like it was all together, without much issue, so. But in any case, where were we? I could not hear what you said, Pepper, you were really quiet. Nope, you're so quiet. Is it just me? Can anyone, Apollonia, can you hear Pepper? Is it just me?
No, I can't hear Pepper.
If you want to type what you were gonna say, I can read it real quick. As you're doing that, I will continue with Chase. Oh no, I said with Chase, Emmanuel. Yeah, Emmanuel, sorry. He seems to be a, fair-skinned dwarf, dwarven type of man. I will say, probably because some of you are very observant, his eyes kind of flutter around. I would almost say very accusatorily, but it's just something you notice. And again, he is led around by there's forge masters that are accompanying him, and they like when he goes the wrong way, one of them will like shift his direction so he goes into the room he needs to go into, and things like that. You're like, oh, they're meeting the press in this room. He'll like walk out the door to one thing, and one of them you'll see escort him back. He just seems to not really want to be here, or not really care to be here. But yeah, besides that, that is the Consortium people. Next, we have the Noblesse Collective, who are brought in. This is two people that come in together. Mirth, the black-furred servalkin with the large avian wings that sprout from her back, and Kesha, who is I believe a dragonkin mixed with an auroch, who has large kind of feathery wings and dragon scales across her body. Wait, I think she's mixed with, is she mixed with Sinesh as well? I think she might be. She's got these, she's got very big snake eyes, or not very big, she's got big snake eyes, and a long kind of snake-like tail as well. But they kind of accompany each other together, waving to the audience and press and things like that. It seems as though they are kind of as personable as Eric is, or I'd say Mirth is just as impressionable, or as not impressionable, as personable as Eric is, where Kesha is more kind of like Vilyada, a bit reserved. They also both look like they are wearing a mix between kind of armor and official attire. Mirth is wearing these kind of large, this kind of large waistcoat that kind of pulls out into these, or not waistcoat, I'm sorry, that's Kesha. Mirth is wearing these large waist guards that go around her her side and also down her like thigh, and then you can see she's wearing underneath kind of some leathered armor. But it does look kind of done up to be a little bit more regal, so to speak. Kesha seems to be wearing almost like a it's like almost like a knight's armor to a certain extent, but you can see there's gaps kind of in the abdomen where her stomach is exposed, and her waist armor is kind of this large skirt of silver plates that almost seem to reflect with like greens, reds, and blues. You're not sure if that, it seems like it might be something kind of mystical or magical about it. And both of them also have kind of staffs on their backs, though with Kesha actually, Kesha doesn't have a staff. Kesha has what looks to be like a long katana, or not a long katana, a regular sized katana on her side. And you can see that there's like these kind of weird trickles of magic that look kind of like, almost like little mini magic like circular sigils that are kind of orbiting around the sword, which some people ask about, and she just says it is her, she mentions it is her Armitage arm, is what she says, and that to pay it no mind. There are some looks towards like if people can bring weapons into the building, however, it seems like they are kind of waved off to be alright to do so, so they are let in without any issue. Also, notably, they have a mix of guild and also noblesse guards, union hold guard members of the noblesse army, as well as some guild officers that accompany them. So, you know, that's good. Oh, actually, well, funny. I believe you were asking about their autograph, Imiko. One of the guild people you see that is accompanying Mirth is a very large lupin direwolf man with green and brown fur. You would recognize who this is as well, Imiko. This is Lloyd. Oh, I couldn't hear you if you said something. I'm gonna assume that they're just breaking up a bit. Pepper, try rejoining real quick. I want to see if that fixes it. Hopefully, I'm not cutting out and they heard me.
Not cutting.
Okay.
At least for me.
They might not be present then. Perhaps. You are cutting out, or are you able to hear? You can't tell. Okay, try rejoining real quick and see if that helps. I will wait to describe more things until you're done. Alright, say something? If you're speaking, I don't think anyone's hearing.
Yeah, I don't hear Pepper.
Can you hear us? Okay. You can hear us. Okay, that's good. Yeah, but I will say just for the sake of things, for now, and since your thing is broken, go ahead and just type if you have anything to... Wait, I think I heard you for a second.
Yeah, I joined on my phone. My fucking the left of the side of fucking.
Ah, okay. You're a little bit roboty. Oh, wait, you're fine now. Say something?
Hello.
Yep,
Hello?
you're good. You're good. So you sounded like you were trying to say something when Lloyd was talking about mentioned.
I was trying to talk about handling my laptop decided to say no, fuck you. But yeah. You were saying?
Just that Lloyd was, you mentioned Emiko wanting Lloyd's autographed, and well, Lloyd seems to be present.
I would like to make the instinctual check. So.
You're going in and out, but I heard you say you wanted to make an instinctual check to not nerd out. Go ahead and roll one. Yes, Lloyd is in the building. Perhaps you will able to... I'd say you're keeping it relatively together, but your tails are wagging a lot. They are... Anyone that notices... I mean, you're in your mech right now, so no one else is going to notice, but your tails are wagging. You are happy that you can probably get that autographed, indeed.
Oh my god. Did that fucking way? Oh.
But yes, he seems to be accompanying Mirth, as it's probably the head of their guard detail kind of walking in. Perhaps some of the other members of Team Uber's Tause are here, but we'll have to wait for that. Outside of them, though,
Wait, I just realized Lloyd?
Yes, Lloyd.
Or... Oh, shit!
Yeah.
Lloyd.
Yep, Lloyd.
Do I hear Emiko muttering to herself?
I mean, maybe on the comms on you guys, yeah, if you guys are all in a group.
That's what I was thinking.
Like,
who the fuck is Lloyd?
Emiko proceeds to nerd out and explain all about Lloyd.
Actually, it's like, no.
You don't know.
I'm gonna look at the fucking Wolfman is what kind of size of him. Oh, okay.
I'll take him.
I mean, in general, Lloyd is, like, for what he would have, like, in terms of now, like, his record and things like that, Lloyd is one of the more, like, he's regarded as one of the stronger people in the guild, like, union in general. Uber Tause is, like, a world-renowned guild team now, so he is... Their team is in the top... I'm pretty sure they're in the top 10 guild. I think they're ranked number 6 in the top 10
What's
guild.
Shadow Guardian's rank?
Nowhere.
Not that I care.
Believe you guys would probably be in the 30s.
Oh, damn.
Because you're special officer, so that does get you a little bit higher ranked, but, you know.
We're also new by like 2 years or 8 years, right?
Yep. Oh, I can also stream as well, because I'm not going to show you the combat map yet.
Yeah, so
it's just the map of the world map, and you can also see where I am, pointing to different lake regions. I know that Noblesse and Memorem aren't here. They're going to be getting maps made for them very soon, though. So probably within the next few sessions, we'll actually have some maps.
nice.
Not that it'll particularly matter for this adventure, like this part of the adventure, but you know, just for the sake of having.
We have the not off topic, but you know, out of session topic. Do we have the like layouts at least for the maps, or
out of session?
Is that what
no,
you're trying to
that's what I gotta get. I have it figured out, like what they're gonna look like. I just have to make them.
Okay.
And then and then the next big thing is making the land masses, and then assigning like, you know, locations, settlements, things like that, notable ecological features. So I've been collecting a lot of what those are going to be. So that's been like the biggest hurdle for writing and things like that. But yeah, also I did not say it, but Emmanuel is representing Delra, which is this section right here, pretty much both the north and the south. As you know, you've been to Delra quite a lot. And then this little small speck of shit here is Hearsay, this green place. That is where Chase is represented.
It's a pretty tiny place.
It is a very tiny place. It is somewhat regarded as the wealthiest overall section of the Consortium, and it is also predominantly ruled by the Hircines and the Palaris family. Though definitely more the Hircines. You see that place? It's called Hircine's Call and Howling Rest.
Yeah.
That is entirely all their technical zone, with most of those other settlements being like Hircine light controlled, but like they have people all around them there. So yeah.
Would I have traded with them?
No, they would probably not.
Yeah.
Maybe the Palarises, but not the Hircines.
Okay.
Yes, the Palarises have their own island. Yeah. It's more just that they don't have much. They don't really care much to do with like Memorem personally. The Palarises, just because there might be some things they want, would be willing to use certain things, but then they would also deny anything and like sell you out if it was needed. So
yeah,
but yeah, outside of that, just because I forgot to mention it, so yes, then after them we have 3 Alta Latel members that are mentioned. Weirdly, they are broken up. Notably, the Alta Latel is technically part of the Consortium. And it is not lost on many of the the media figures and broadcasters, at least some of the ones, that mention that it is odd that they were not presented with the rest of the Consortium, like how the Tide Pact was presented earlier. But nevertheless, our 3 members are Ahook, or Lady Ahook as she is presented. We actually have a picture of Lady Ahook that I will put on the screen at some point in a moment. And by a moment, I'm going to go and find it on Discord because I'm lazy. Dev artists. Hook. There we go. A Hook is wearing a little bit of probably what's in this picture, though her wings I just realized this picture kind of spoils a little thing, but that's okay. Copy image, please. Image. There we go. All right. If you were to look in the chat right now, you will see a Hook. Any moment now. There we go. That is what a Hook looks like. Could not hear you, Pepper.
Damn.
I can hear.
She has currently her wings wrapped around in front of her that almost looks like a, not a poncho. I can't remember. We found out the name of what it was and I forgot what it is. They basically wrap around like kind of a, like they hang off of the front of her and the back. So it looks like she's wearing like a coat that would go around the front and the back. Made of green and yellow and white feathers. There is some kind of like strange like armor. Well, I wouldn't say strange, but just some armor you can see around the wings on the corner sections and the bone. And then also her arms and legs, you can see the armor that she's wearing. Those seem to be kind of tinted with a kind of a lime and a dark kind of colored green, and a bright yellow that seems to kind of glow with a thin layer of energy. There is definitely a lot of alto that speak fondly of her. You can hear any broadcasters that are related to them. And in general, there is kind of a overall positive vibe you see from people towards a Hook around the area. Past that, however, there are 2 others. Nasili, who you know very well, Oh, and I didn't say what a hook is, but she is a lizardkin mixed with an auroch. But yes, Nasili, who is a lizardkin mixed with a devilkin, it seems, as you know. She's a little bit more standoffish. We'll say there's a few broadcasters that come over to talk with her, and she kind of just blows them off and continues on walking. She doesn't seem to be wanting to talk much, which is her willingness.
From the
Oh, you cut out?
from the distance, Nichiri will probably hear, "Kitty cat, hey, over here!"
She would definitely try to ignore you as much as possible. You irritate her,
Oh,
as she's made it very clear.
You irritate her.
But besides that,
While this
point-
is like
Okay,
while
sorry.
we're all like making our space, I just wanted to point out that I'm just like kind of in the air,
Mhm.
surveying everyone.
Keeping an eye out on things. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Like,
You're cutting. You're
eye
low.
level.
You're low, Yumiko.
Oh, hello.
There you are. Go ahead.
But yeah, I like to make it on the ground floor. I guess.
Yep. Feel free.
That is cool.
And also, while that's happening, there is the last one. The person you saw the other day that they was kind of like sitting crouched or cross-legged on top of one of the mast of one of the Alto ships. You can see there appears to be a lizardkin who is wearing different colored clothes than the other ones. They seem to be wearing something probably of a different tribe. Nasili's wearing the bright red of the Veil tribe. Ahook seems to be wearing... Actually, oddly enough, Ahook's colored clothes seem to be slightly off from the rest of the Alto members from the Lotier tribe that are more like purple and in color. But then Sharptooth, Quada, comes over. There is a moment where there's like there's a little bit of confusion, it seems like at first, as one of the broadcasters, they kind of ask like they kind of go up to them and they're like, so and they kind of like stop, and Sharptooth just kind of turns over and they just say, Guanta Sharptooth is my name. Also, he, if it's that big of a deal, or Ashin, and just that's it. They just keep going. The broadcaster kind of stops for a moment, and then goes back to their regular rounds of talking to other people. Sharptooth's not standoffish, but there are some people that seem a bit confused with the way Sharptooth presents themselves. We'll put it that way. That's about it. Outside of Sharptooth. Sharptooth doesn't talks about as much as Nasili, though they aren't as standoffish. It's just more of they're not really saying anything, or he's not really saying anything to people that don't immediately come out to talk to him. So there you go.
Ain't got the same name as T-Rex from fucking Land Before Time.
I think that. Wait, was it Sharptooth?
Yes.
Huh. Well, yeah, it is. Also, Sharptooth, we do have an image for Sharptooth. It's actually been an image that many people have seen, because it's in the Echo the Stardust thing. And in fact, our group has met him. Sharptooth. Sharptooth, where are you? Ah, there you are. Right, Quada is the first name. That is what Quada looks like. And that is honestly probably what he's wearing, because he doesn't really wear much dressed up to the nines. So, yes, he's wearing the light blue of the Lel tribe. Yep. But yes, he is, in general, he is walking about, and like I said, we'll talk to those that talk to him. There is actually some Forge Masters that try to talk to him and Nasili. Nasili, she doesn't really want to talk to them. She just kind of like, she listens, but she doesn't really say much. He, however, does talk with them a bit more. And there is a kind of moment of, this is not really broadcasted, but you can, like, as you're doing the rounds and passing by, it does seem like they get off decently well. He seems like he's decently personable, at least comparably to Vasily. There are some control guard that give a few of the alto a bit of a not so savory look, but they don't say anything to make, they don't seem to say much that's out loud enough to cause any commotion. So outside of that, that is them. That is all of the alto. And that was your awareness checks. Nice, nice. I will say both of you at the moment, as you're going your rounds, you don't see anything too much. Like I said, I say that occasionally as you guys get closer to the summit or like check in on different things, you just hear like reports back from different people. Notably something that, or I guess this is something you do notice, it seems like the guild is trying, the consortium is trying to manage the situation and seems to be the main one leading the whole like operations here, for better or worse. The guild is kind of shoring up where they are not, or they're having difficulties. There is a couple of communication issues, mainly due to the consortium people being moved a lot more around different places than other members. There's definitely like a feeling like the consortium leadership here is not necessarily relying on the assistance of the other forces around, and that may or may not lead to some blind spots, but as best as the guild can with the few forces here, they are trying to rectify that, and such. This is also why they are having you just stay in the front, because they're trying to make sure that they have a good forward front defense while they move everyone around, so they can at least be assured that the front is safe. And yes, past the alto, there are only two groups left. There is the Urok Vein and the Memorem group, as you know. The Urok Vein are introduced, and that is introduce an elderly Urok man who wields, who kind of walks around with a cane, and you can see there are these large these kind of tall Urok figures that kind of walk with him, wielding these large glaives. His name is Kar Met. Some of you might know who this is, as well, since in another time, potentially, you might have all gotten a quest from them, or him, and then you met the main person they sent to deal with that situation. But yes, Kar Met is here, along with another individual. Actually, oh, she is here. Oh, yeah. What is her nickname again? Is it the Black Storm, I believe?
Black,
The what,
Black
sorry?
Thunder.
The Black...
Black Thunder, sorry.
The Black Thunder, yes. She is here. A large kind of Urok-looking, but very kind of interestingly musculatured woman who seems to also have these strange energy veins across her forearms and her calves. They kind of stretch up to and towards her torso. You're cutting out.
She's gonna make an instinctual check again.
Oh, okay. Feel free. You make an instinctual check, and you seem relatively fine. You're keeping yourself, rather tame. This time your tail doesn't even wag. But yes, you are also aware, Yumiko, of who this is. You've heard the stories of the Black Thunder or the Black Storm. But I feel like it was Black Storm, but either way. She seems to be the lead head guard for Kar Met. Kar Met is approached by a few people to talk to. They ask him his thoughts on the whole matter and actually there's a lot of questions about why he and even the Noblessians are here. And he kind of remarks that like all will be revealed in good time. He kind of all will be revealed in good time. Do not worry. He seems to have a kind of laid back, more reserved approach. unlike the others, he will respond to questions and things like that and comments about the nation of the Uruk Vein. There's questions that fly their way about like why they are more isolated even in the current state of affairs as it pertains to like the guild reaching out to groups and stuff like that. He answers rather honestly and mentions that the Uruk Vein has been, generally speaking, very isolationist in the past, and that it is something they are looking to change as the future goes, as the winds change to a new dawn, as he will say, and that it is time for them to catch that new wind, which seems to signal potentially that this is a big step for them, so to speak, in speaking at this type of event. Past that is the last person. Their name, as you all know, is Ishin Ali, the Memorem human Maharib man that is here for his people to try and broker some type of deal, it seems. And we will see what that entails soon enough. Going back to the top, we're going to talk about what everyone kind of says. So, this time, it's around 2 hours after the general festivities. It's getting around close to noon, right? And this is when everyone is brought in to the large hall, set at different seats, kind of in a, almost like in a, we'll say a half hemicircle type of pattern, where each person will come to the floor, or pair, and will talk about what they would like to kind of mention, and then they will also talk about like the whole general, what their general nation standings and things like that are on the summit, and in fact what the summit's even about. Ishin will start, and he will begin with the reason the summit was called. Actually, he will not be alone. Eric will go up with him, and so will Vilyada, and then also Karmet actually gets up. The elderly Uruk Vein man, he will get up, and he will accompany them down. I think also, yes, Mirth accompanies him down. Kesha stays at her seat, but Mirth will accompany him down. Ahuk looks like she was going to get up, but Nasili seems to stop her and kind of, it almost looks like she's telling her to kind of wait a moment, just to see like what happens. They all approach to the bottom, go onto the stand at the bottom, and they present their case, I guess you'd say, the request. Ishin unveils that the reason for this peace summit and such like that, obviously all the nations are not in combat with each other for the most part, outside of small petty squabbles and things like that. Oh, I think we, yep, that's okay, we lost one, but we'll give an explanation of this later. But yes, while all the nations are not really in too big of combats or anything with each other, especially with the guild around to kind of, you know, like, smack that if anyone tries to start a big conflict. There is kind of this issue where everyone is relatively still kind of repairing themselves from the Rising War, some better than others. That is mentioned not necessarily by the group, but offhandedly by Chase and Emmanuel, that some nations have better, or it would be Alakul, Chase, and Emmanuel, to kind of mention that some nations have better healed themselves from the previous conflict. There is a little bit of some murmuring around the crowd and around the officials about how some nations have kind of deserved their current situation. And before that can get to an argument, Karmet kind of like stamps his staff on the ground, his cane on the ground, and sends out this puff of wind that kind of seems to silence everyone. And then Karmet kind of looks over to Ishin to continue. Ishin will continue, and he will remark that the situation as it stands for many nations in Lapsus as a whole could be doing significantly better than they currently are. Sorry I'm not doing his voice at the moment. I'll do his voice a little bit later, but working off low food and no drink, so... but yes, he will kind of present that, and he will say the reason they are all brought, or they have all been brought here, is because he and some of the other officials here have been in discussions for at least the last year about things. and they are requesting a deal between all the nations of Lapsus that could potentially broker into something substantially more, we'll say, world-changing in the future. They would like to have a unified, how would we put it, or how would I'm trying to remember where he said. They would like to have a unified front, or in other words, they would like to make a collective between all the nations within Lapsus. This collective would have several purposes. One, it would standardize a kind of a currency between all the member nations that would be used. It would also allow for the freedom of movement between member nations, as if they would only have a mark from their home nation, but they would still be considered, relatively for the sake of benefits and things like that, citizens of like this Lapsus whole, so to speak, and get the benefits of that. It would be standardized to the fact that all member nations, civilians would be getting these benefits as well, or citizens would be getting these benefits as well. Along with this would allow for the joining and the specific movements of troops between these member nations in a way that would allow them to deal with larger scale conflicts and problems more easily. And of course, the big thing here is the citizenry thing, as this kind of is what starts a large kind of uproar among the different parts of the room, because this is effectively equalizing the citizenry around Lapsus. It also means that, for instance, a Memorem and a Lapsian would effectively be the same outside of just like name alone. Some seem to be more agreeing with this, some seem to be a little bit more against this. And from the top, each individual, or representative, I should say, is able to come up and kind of say their piece on if the agreement should be passed or not. It seems as though some officials were more aware of this than others, because even Chase and Emmanuel, or at least Chase, while he seems to be very standoffish to the idea, does not seem surprised by this occurrence. So there might have been something kind of leaked around about this situation happening. The first one to come up is actually Alakul, which is if you remember, the moralist man that leads the honor guard for the Tide Pact. Alakul, while somewhat ambivalent to the entire situation, he doesn't seem to care much either way. He does believe, he seems to promote that it is the honorable thing to do to provide aid to those still struggling in the many Lapsian nations, and that satellite settlements, he does not really mince words when he mentions that, or who he's referring to, that are not tied to the main nations still require assistance from the prior wars and other conflicts that have been happening since then. And he mentions, for instance, the Civil War, some of the conflicts that happened around the Auroch vein with monsters and other things, and stuff like that. However, he also holds that the Consortium should be the primary beneficiary of this reimbursement and aid. And his main reasoning behind that is partially due to the amount of citizens the Consortium has over the other nations, total, so to speak. He also, or I said, should that mean that he also mentioned that should that mean the Tide Pact is drawn into this allegiance, so to speak, since they are part of the Consortium, he is all okay with that, and in terms of what it would require of them to do and support for other, and in terms of support for other nations as well. But first and foremost, he believes that it must come from, the Lapsworn, otherwise known as Lapsians, of the mainland, who desires votes and aims have slightly caused some of the mess that is currently being dealt with. This is a bit odd. Some people seem to kind of look a bit confused with Alakul, because what he seems to be suggesting is Consortium citizens should be giving the most should be receiving the benefits of most of the aid, while also being the ones that are providing it, But he clarifies he is referring to the governmental body of the consortium, not necessarily the citizenry. When he says like where these sections should be coming from. He does say, while some feel he is shrugging the responsibilities of the Tide Pack because he never really mentions their involvement with the consortium. He will reply that they were acting in accordance with the orders they were given during the war, and he will leave it as that before he leaves the podium. By the way, I know I have not given a moment for anyone to say anything, but if there is things you would like to say in between these moments between these conversations, feel free.
I
Oh, quiet.
like probably. Yep.
Yep, hear you.
I would. Emika would probably doesn't say anything as she's like observing like the mood of the air, seeing like how's it going.
All right. Apani,
I'd like to remove. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think Apani's muted.
You mute.
That's alright. I'll take that as there's nothing much they have to say. So, I think Latricia would probably comment from Nameless. She wouldn't like broadcast this out, so it's on your guys' line. She would say that she kind of suspected, or she would kind of say like, I kind of suspected that Isheen would try something like this. Do you think it's going to actually go through?
Probably no, but who knows? Still the first like outing.
Right. This thing is supposed to be on for a few more days. You can just go ahead.
We have plenty of time to like listen in. Meanwhile, we have to like be on the lookout for potential terrorist incursion.
She nods. Treading over. The next one to come up is Ultra. And Ultra, she presents herself as in a way where she says she holds that there is no, not only is it the honorable thing to do, kind of agreeing or co-signing with Alukul here, but she also mentions Eric, Ahuk, and Vilyada by name, as she says she believes that they should begin the process of restoring relations and commerce between the nations directly within the Lapsian sphere, and that they should be doing it effectively as quickly as possible. She is also willing to, and she mentions this, and this is what this statement kind of gets the crowd around, a little bit of some pauses around, even in the guard detail around you. She says she is willing to provide her own bolstering current members to act as liaisons alongside the guild union in the in endeavors around the other nations. She is willing to show how willing they are to aid directly. However, she does want something out of this deal. And I will say, the bolstering current members you see all around do not seem at all perplexed by her saying this. They seem to be all relatively on board, it seems. Like, either they probably knew this, or they might have even recommended it. But she continues. She does want something particular out of this deal. Namely, that Memorem allows for Tide Pack's assistance within their area and domain of their zones. Around their nation's sea to quell any pirating vessels as well as monsters nearby, or to aid with that endeavor. As recently, they have had increased amounts of detections of ship attacks by unknown raiding parties. When she mentions that, there are some murmurs around the room among some of the consortium members. Definitely Emmanuel, Chase. Eric kind of mentioned something. Emmanuel seems to talk with Eric about something about that. You get a message from Macy, Emiko, and Apani. She kind of like taps onto your line, and she's like, "Yeah, it seems like, unfortunately, there's some of the reports about some unsavory things happening around the Memorem's land and the seas. not just the attack we had to deal with at Icon Fall, but there's been a whole bunch of weird raiding parties that have been noted there.
They all fall under the same flag, or they get like different?
At the moment, we're investigating, but I believe, well, off the record, I believe they're related to that other force that you guys were telling me about. And I think that they think so too. Ah, you're too quiet. Can't hear you.
Are they coming out in full force?
Well, that might not be good. If there's already suspicions that Memorem isn't doing its best with defense, we'll find out.
Yep, we'll find it.
After that, she leaves the podium. Hirata comes up to the stage. Hirata is nominally for the agreement, he seems. However, he wants to also curtail some of the costs the Consortium would be forced to acclimate, we'll say, due to their own nation's financial issues. He is, however, he notes, all right with... Oh, there is something as well I should note. This is floated around the room, and this is the first time you're probably hearing it as, like, a direct mention of it. But you might have, like, during the broadcast heard a mention of something like an apology. And you're not sure what that was all about. You figured maybe it was something earlier in the day that was said or something offhandedly. But now Hirata brings it up specifically. And he says, however, he is all right with the currently discussed official apology from the Consortium and request for aid for Memorem specifically. Albeit with the caveat that the Consortium is allowed some special supervisions of Memorem's weapons development, as they have reason to believe that Memorem has been preparing for a massive amount of military infrastructure development and supplying, and they are unsure of the reason, and they question... He directly will say that there is some concerns about the Memorem's honesty as it pertains to this event. This starts another commotion, of course, with certain accusations about Memorem planning for some big attack on the mainland of the Consortium and other lands, even the noblesse, for instance. Most of these accusations seem to come from Lapsworn officials in the room accompanying the other officials, Lapsian and Consortium ones. There are a few Noblessian ones that seem concerned at the mention that they could be a potential threat, or they could be under potential threat from a Memorem attack. Maybe even confused, as they don't really have a necessarily bad relationship with them. However, things are died down. Hirata kind of puts his hand up, and Eric will actually, as he's coming down the stairs, will actually mention, he's going down with Viliata, he will say that while they do understand the situation and the concerns about Memorem's stability, they believe that the guild, with the recent guild supervisions, that they can trust that if there is any situation that would occur, that they can trust the guild would aid in dealing with that situation. And to that point, as Eric and Viliata will replace Hirata, Eric and Viliata will mention that they believe Memorem has come to this agreement and this meeting, and the summit, I should say, in good faith, and that along with the other nations and subsidiary consortium groups like the Alto Latel and Tide Pact, and this is one of the first times the Alto Latel is even directly mentioned, they believe that, yes, they are coming in good faith between them. Due to this, the consortium, they believe, they are willing to accept the terms as they currently are, as stated, as it would show the nation that their nation is willing to own up to its responsibilities and make amends for the past that the checkered past the consortium has. It would also show that they are willing to transition the Lapsian sphere into a state that is right for all Lapsians. They also want a conjoined. They also agree that the conjoined registry of citizenship would be honored. Should be honored among all member nations and subsidiary nations related. So like territories and things like that. And this would also, they also agree that all Lapsian, Memorens, Avane, which are the short term for Auroch Vane, and other members like the Noblicians and such would all be referred to as Lapsians under this, or the official citizens for every nation. This would also, and again, of course, this also extends to satellite settlements and individuals currently who have no area of return due to the war and their nation's fall. This is something that's very specific and will be brought up in a moment. But that last tidbit basically means that any particular refugees, or for instance someone like Apani that is a member of a land that no longer really exists, they would also be agreed to be citizens under this. They would just be carte blanche given citizenry, even if they didn't have a direct member nation to come that was like their mainstay. They would be grouped in with another one. Continuing. Oh, Paul's back to listen in for a bit. You didn't miss much, just different people going through their things. Effectively, there is an agreement. You said you lagged back in? Okay. Effectively, as a summation so far, Eric and Viliata are in agreement pretty much with most of the original clause or original agreement here. To the point, they also want to even extend the citizenry thing to those that are refugees and members of nations that no longer exist that are in the Lapsus sphere. And this is to make direct amends for the fact that there are several nations, Nelfnir, that don't exist anymore as they used to. So they don't, even if this citizenry thing was made at this moment, it wouldn't matter for them because they don't have a home nation that technically corresponds to the Lapsian sphere. They are saying to extend it. Which is big. It seems to be a big deal among the group. Hirata seems to agree as well. However, he also wants some curtailment of the cost from the consortium, which kind of goes counter with what Alakul and Ultra were recommending originally. But he is okay with the agreement happening, and as well as the request of an official apology directed towards nations affected in the Rising War. What's wrong? Oh. I saw Pepper send a message. It was in another chat. Anyway, I will not say what that was to. Anyway, outside of that, yes, they Ultra and Alakul of the Tide Pack, generally speaking, agree with the thing, but they also want the Tide Pack to have direct supervision over the seas around Memorem. And this has also been brought up by Hirata. They have concerns about potential unsavory action around the Memorem region, or Memorem lands at this point. And they believe that there needs to be a direct hands-on approach and a monitor or supervision. The Hirata is recommending the Consortium does these supervision endeavors, and also would supervise some of Memorem's weapons development as well, as they believe that there is some risk that Memorem might be. They've seen that Memorem seems to be developing a lot more weaponry and stuff recently, and they are concerned. They have reason to believe that there are concerns of a potential attack on several nations, including Noblesse, the Consortium, and potentially even the Auroch Vane. This seems to have caused some arguments, but Eric and Viliata have kind of mellowed everyone out to say that, like, hey, Memorem has come here in good faith. They seem like they're willing. They are trying to reach an agreement with all of us here. They are not in the best situation, and that we, as the people that have caused a lot of the situation in the past, have no right to necessarily prejudge them for certain things at the moment, especially as it pertains to preparing for defenses in case of an attack. Next thing, this is when Chase and Emmanuel come up, and these are the ones that seem the most in a disagreement of everything, them and any of the officials that are with them. Chase and Emmanuel are staunchly against any type of conjoined Lapsian block. Quite literally, they do not think this agreement should stand at all. They don't want any part of it. They basically believe that the other non-consortium groups are merely trying to weaken the consortium, more than its current weakened state as it is, as they're currently trying to recover. They outwardly kind of accuse this of Memorem and Noblesse specifically. Also, they believe Memorem has not truly given up any of their hostilities against them, the Consortium directly, and they also believe that other nations, they hold ill intent towards other nations and are preparing for a large offensive. When this is brought up, they bring up some papers and some evidence is put on different leaders around the room's desk, and they effectively start talking about the reports they've gotten of various attacks around the Memorem Seas, as well as in the Delra area, both corresponding. They even have some records that show guild involvements in some of these incidents, to show that it's corroborated that the guild has even encountered some incidents. While your necessarily Titus direct mission does not come up per se, your off the cuff mission you did, there is mentions of missions similar to yours where people were raided, different guild ships and other things were raided for materials in the last basically 9 to 12 months. And that all of these have disappeared, and it seemingly disappeared in the Memorem area, and Memorem has had no direct responses to any of these disappearing supplies and things like that. They even remark that Memorem has had their own supplies stolen potentially from a third-party group, and that they have no real way of showing that they have gotten these materials back. So they question not only if Memorem is truly forthright here, but they also question how stable Memorem can be, as it is a fledgling nation that has barely survived from a civil war, and that still shows it has ill intent towards its neighbors. And that is how they kind of summarize their opinions. They also cite that the recent foundry acclamation, as you've heard the name before, Adala Enterprise, by Gorgata, in their nation, is a sign of concern, as something many other nations will not deny having noted. And there is some looks from the Noblessians that also seem like they have noted the acquisition and developments from Gorgata and Adala Enterprise in Memorem. There is a mention of the Gadab units outside that they kind of point to as a sign that Memorem is preparing for something dangerous and large and offensive. The last thing they end on is that they officially want Memorem to cease all new weapons development, their new weapons development platform, and if they fail to agree to, or also, wait one sec, let me make sure I read that right. Officially, they want Memorem to cease their new weapons development platform, or failing that, they would need to agree directly to Harada's clause about the Consortium monitors. And they said they will not be willing to vote for it if neither of those things would be willing to be happening. Yes. Any comments after that spiel, or relatively keeping quiet in the party?
Make awareness.
Yep, feel free. Also got quiet again, but yeah.
Yeah, I hate my head.
That's alright. So, the next two groups, we have Noblesse comes to the table, or comes to the platform next. And they, let me check real quick. Yep, you're fine. Still nothing of major note. There is actually some looks, roll me a mood check.
Going good.
Okay. After Chase and Emmanuel come up, there is outside, you can see a lot of the control guard and even some of the garrison knights. There's kind of a look of pride and kind of like I would say almost like a look of yeah, tell them how it is type feel is the expression you get from some of them. It's not all of them per se. It's definitely more control guard than it is the garrison knights, and it's it just seems like there are some, and even some of the citizens like around, there is a kind of feel that there is a big concern about Memorem and its threat it poses to the Consortium. That being said, there are also I would also say there is some concern. A lot of the noblesse people, the Auroch Bane seem relatively chilled, like the very sparse amount of them that are on the ground. They don't seem to really pay much mind to it. There is some concern from some Noblessian soldiers and some Union Hold members that seem to be kind of concerned that Noblesse might have ill intent towards them. There are definitely some side eyes towards some of the Memorem soldiers, but they don't really say anything. Just definitely a feeling you get of like unease starting to begin to seep into different groups of soldiers.
I make note of it. Yeah, it looks like the crowd is starting.
Patricia kind of nods to you, and she kind of says, "Yes, it seems like there's now some blood in the water."
Yep.
As far as you can see, Titus, there's nothing too crazy. There is a bit of some cloud cover starting to come in, though. It's not necessarily the worst thing where you are, but like a definitely decent bit up. There's some clouds starting to come in. You don't think it's gonna rain, you just think it's gonna get visibility might get hard in the air somewhat. But yes, outside of that, Mirth and Kesha come to the stage on the platform at the bottom, and they begin to speak. Let me see. Let me check something.
Yeah, while you check, could I, Highness. They're up in the sky?
I don't know if Paul can actually talk right now, but
Oh, yeah.
it's alright. I mean, I can tell you in general, he would not be seeing much of anything like different outside of the cloud cover. But yes, outside of that, let me see. Yeah, so Mirth and Kesha. So, first, they will respond with a rather positive, kind of counter to actually, you see the unease that enters the building after that kind of huge display among some of the different officials. However, Mirth and Kesha present a rather positive view, personal, it seems like, positive view of Ishin. Mirth especially. As she believes that Ishin, he is true to his heart and desire for peace and wanting better for his people, as well as those around Lapsus as well. She believes that even if there is a third party of some kind within Memorem, the Ishin is not involved with them, and that he would do everything in his power, and up to and including willing to let the guild go into his nation to deal with the problem, to fix things. There is a bit of a kind of gasp, and you even hear this outside. The idea, especially from among the, not necessarily noblesse people, but a lot of the Consortium, that someone would be willing to let the guild no holds bars, not as just like a small guild hall that gets adventurers and things like that, but like as a military operation, let the guild come in and fix the problem, right? That seems to be like a notable thing among the Consortium that people are unsure of. Some people are for it, but there's like a lot of discussion you hear, even among the guards, about that. Some Memorems even, like in the guard detail, are like, not sure. You can get the vibe that like some of them aren't sure if that's the best course of action, and that they wonder if that would be giving too much away to a foreign course, which is kind of the idea that a lot of the Consortium people give. The Noblessians seem to be completely fine or null to this idea, though, and they even remark that like their nation that is aided by the guild directly, and they have had no issues with it. If anyone kind of comes to them and asks like if Kesha and Mirth are if like they're correct in their assumptions here and that they should go this route, they will completely steelman it and say that yes, they believe that is the best course of action, and they believe if Mirth and Kesha believe that is to be the case, that they are willing to stay with them and align with their beliefs on this matter, that they believe Asheen as well would do this. Past that point, they continue. Kesha is skeptical. Kesha mentioned specifically, instead of being skeptical of Memorem alone, she's actually skeptical of the Consortium and their aims alongside, with, she'll kind of point to the audience that Nasili and Carmet have mentioned this in discussions in the brief, or in, like, kind of the background. Despite the Alto being part of the Consortium, she believes that to this extent the Consortium is potentially compromised similarly to Memorem, and that it has its own fair share of nationalistic threats that could be a problem in some type of agreement like this. Which begins a big discussion around as they start to pass out more parchments and papers, similarly like Chase and them do. Emmanuel seems confused, not necessarily at the idea, just about like what they're bringing up. And Chase seems to be a bit more quiet and a bit more notably. You get them with your mood. You can tell he's upset, like that this information is being passed around. The broadcasters talk about how they're showing around different incidents that the Guild, Noblesse, and other groups around Lapsus have reported about, we'll say, nationalistic militia groups or non-militia groups that are not technically allowed by the Consortium, but they have nonetheless organized. They are not sanctioned by the Consortium officially, but they are around in different parts, and that they have been caught in several different incidents as of the last 2 years, doing well. One of the incident that comes up is the incident involving Gilded Forges and the Valiant Hawks militia group that was involved with that incident, and how that group has not been asked to disband, or any type of repercussions outside of the people involved seem to be pushed. So there seems to be some questions and discussion about this, and why, for instance, Gilded Forges was involved with the situation, and the Valiant Hawks, a private militia group, was used as guard detail in an incident that involved hurting the Veil tribe and such like that. There seems to be some kind of a mix of accusations. Outside, you can hear some of the Control Guard kind of arguing with some of the Memorem people and also some of the Guild people right now.
When I hear that, could I use
Pepper? One sec. Pepper, it sounds like there's like a loud sound every now and then when you speak. I don't know what's coming from though.
Hold on. Is that alright?
Alright, say something.
Hello?
You're good.
I'm thinking of using soul sensing just to like pick out anything that's looking to think finally igniting this like almost igniting powder keg. Could I also use my Sylvan for sense power?
Yes.
Yeah, and they'll add me a +2 as well.
Yep,
That'll be
go
okay.
ahead.
Fine.
Well, at the moment, you feel you're having trouble feeling things in terms of sensations of spiritual like energy. It is heightened, and it just seems because of the argument that people's emotions might be starting to get flared up, especially among the Memorem and the Control Guard, and the Guild members also seem to be, they're keeping themselves a bit more composed, but you can tell there is a raising in the spiritual energy in the area. No one's throwing any attacks or anything like that, and it seems as though some type of leaders or captains of different groups kind of come up and break up whatever little fight was about to happen. Telling everyone, yelling at everyone to get back to their positions. They don't know if anything could happen potentially. This starts to calm down as you hear the rest of it seems like Kesha and Mirth continue as to what they're saying. But overall, yeah, it seems like there was a little bit of a squabble that was about to happen due to this information getting released. And accusations, we'll say, between both parties. Past that, though, she will bring up that, Mirth will bring up that she believes the majority of Memorem's people in the nation do not live in the best situation. They live in rather squalid conditions, and they are redeveloping at their settlements and such. Similarly, to how the Alta Latel are also developing a lot as well at this moment. And they also mentioned specifically. Oh wait, sorry. Let me repeat that. I disagreed. Not disagree. I said the wrong thing. I read 2 sentences out of order. She believes that the majority of the Memorem people within the nation of Lapsus are living in squalid conditions around certain settlements, and namely the Citiverth itself. And they also point to how the Alto tribal lands are in a similar boat, having had to accept the majority of Memorem refugees when the first swings of from the Civil War came, all the way up until now, and that had it not been for the significant amount of refugees accepted by the Alta Latel, they would have effectively been left out to dry, with the Consortium just washing their hands of the ordeal and their commitments. So she wants a commitment and an official apology. This is where that was written into the clause by the Consortium. And they want this commitment to rebuilding bridges rather than burning them, and also a commitment to, a commitment to the idea, just a commitment to upholding this ideal and thwarting any nationalistic issues or threats within their nation. Similarly, that they would ask of Memorem, they would ask the same of Memorem. They would like to ask the same for the Consortium, up to and including allowing not their forces but guild forces more access to their developments and such like that. If this is agreed, Noblesse, and they believe the guild union, and there are some nods from who you see as Leshishka in the room, who believes that they would gladly aid in any restoration efforts. They would be willing to even subtract from their own restoration efforts in Noblesse to help the Lapsian sphere as a whole, since they believe that their general amount of acceptance of refugees and such would possibly be alleviated if they helped around, so to speak, doing this. So, that is what they come to say. The last group before Ishin is the Alta Latel, and Nisili and Quada or Sharptooth, actually stay. They don't leave their chairs. They speak with a hook, it seems, and a hook goes up, kind of flies down, or floats down to the stage to speak for them all together. She believes that the best route forward for the Consortium is to accept Memorem and the other nations' terms unconditionally. This gets some arguments a little bit for a moment before, again, there is kind of like an order that is stamped down for everyone to silence for a moment. She believes it's not only, she says that it is not only that they are not asking for much outside of what should be expected for an agreement like this. She also believes that the guild should be the main party in monitoring nations' military developments rather than a single nation. And she directly disagrees with the Consortium being the ones involved with monitoring Memorem. Nisili and Ultra believe that there should, Nisili and Ultra actually do co-sign this, even though Ultra somewhat came up differently originally. And she begins to say they have reason to believe that the Consortium historically, not the Tidepack and Alto, are the ones that seem to rouse suspicious claims, and that because of that, they would be willing to agree that the guild should monitor these military developments and such around nations. There's some more discussions, and that is all Ultra says before, or not Ultra, Hook says before she flies back up. Lastly, after a few moments, is Ishin Ali. Ishin is asking formally, as he said, for the nations to join this group, this block of nations, so to speak, for the purposes of trade and defense. He will relay again past this. He is asking for he is asking that the most nations disenfranchised during the Rising War from a decade ago would be receiving a universal commitment from all other nations to aid those the most affected, citizens or nations regardless. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Did my
I thought you
thing
were going
went
to say
off?
something.
Yeah, I was about to say something. I would like to make another awareness check.
All right.
If this is like the final hearing session,
Yes.
okay, I want to definitely
Feel
do
free.
something.
But yes, as that's happening, he will continue. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Oh, right. So he says, of course, Memorem would be one of the nations that are provided a lot of support. He understands. He will admit that that is the case because of their situation after the Civil War and the prior war, or the Rising War. They are still recovering from the ecological damages from their conflict in the Civil War, as well as the Consortium's endeavors before. However, while he knows some of his people may hold ill will towards the Consortium, he believes that that is not the way forward as the situation is progressing. And that for Lapsus as a whole to move forward and for his people to be able to once again have a sustainable existence as they once had, a peaceful land, this summit must agree. And he will go on to quote a specific, or he will go on to say a specific thing as he is remarking all this. As he goes on to say something, there are some, Emmanuel, Chase, and Alikul even, begin to somewhat chastise the idea of his nation receiving handouts. However, some of the others kind of begin to speak for Ishin, Mirth, Eric, and a hook, so to speak. And then after a few of the growing animosities are addressed and people are talking, Carmet, once again, will stamp his staff down, sending out that gust of wind to silence things. Ishin will thank Carmet. Carmet will kind of nod to him to continue. And he will go on to say this.
My fellow Lapsians, it has been nearly a decade since the end of the West conflict. Since the end of the West conflict, the stretch that has stretched since over the Lapsian sphere. Nay, the world of Jakar. Since the conflict ended, it looks over. We have remained relatively secluded in our insular ways, concerning ourselves with our own affairs, avoiding our responsibilities, and avoiding our actions from the prior war. To the people both within and around our nations, we are at the precipice of a new conflict burgeoning. To those with vile intent who perpetrated those heinous acts, and those that now see the effects that are still affecting those innocents still scraping by to claim some form of solace from the conflicts prior. Those locked in the swell of hate, nearly inescapable vengeance. I do not exclude my own nation from its share of the burden, responsibilities, and action.
And someone begins to speak and he says, nor myself as well.
However, we are now in a position as leaders of our nations and people to stop this here and now. The Guild Union and the work of our people to rebuild has granted us an opportunity like no other. To confront this ill intent wherever it may fall, to face our past and forge a new future. As Lady Ahuk, Mirth, Kasha, Vilyata, Eric, and the others have all remarked. To stand united and forge a new future, as the Guild Union proclaims in its clause. even alone. If I am the only one to act to do this, I will if I must. But I would hope I would not stand alone. I fear, however, time is of the essence. As we speak, swells of negative energy begin to pool around various nations, our own included. We must act now, before.
As that's saying, or as that's said, Himiko, you are keeping an eye out in your Pearl unit. You're kind of flying a little bit hovering a little bit in the air, using the Raven Stark. And there is a distortion sound. There's well, not distortion. You would notice it. There's a strange distortion sound for a moment, and then you hear reports coming in from the guild. They have reported several incidents. So, and you can look in the distance as you see, and feel the echo of some sounds. There are explosions, bellows of smoke in the distance, towards the west of the city.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say towards the west part of the city, in the kind of shantytown area where the guild forces are congregated, along with the control guard. Reports.
Is that distortion? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Are those distortions familiar?
Roll me a knowledge technological. And as you
Continue
do,
what you do. Continue what you do.
okay, as you do that, those reports come in, and they are the guild. There are multiple guild officers and guild teams reporting that there are several fires that have seemingly spontaneously formed. One of the groups is reporting that they believe it to be some form of magical fire or spiritual fire based on some of the properties they're investigating. There's another one reporting some alchemical fire or chemical solution seems to have been lit ablaze in the town square. And there are a couple of minor attacks that are being reported and being suppressed by the guild by some. They're not sure exactly, but they believe them to be some type of like mercenary raiders or something like that. They're not really wearing anything too descript, but they are kind of like spontaneously having these attacks happen. They are seemingly dealing with the situation well, but there are, like I said, there were several explosions, and they're kind of trying to deal with those as they can. They are asking for assistance, and they seem to be getting it from the rest of the guild forces in the area. Along with that, however, there are several. Actually, yeah, that happens. That distortion sound you're hearing, and it's you got a 17, was it? Himiko?
Yep.
You don't think this is the same as... This isn't the same as E-Boy. This is different. But there is a strange as you're picking up this distortion, it's getting louder. As the reports are coming in, the sounds start to get fuzzier and fuzzier. And you start kind of tinkering with your console to see if you can figure out where this distortion effect is coming from. It seems to buzz loudly enough, or it seems to get loud enough that you have to kind of like cut your volume down for a second so it doesn't damage your ears. You can see also around you, that just like passively, other people seem to be possibly experiencing it as well. There's a couple of, you can see there's a couple of like, not mariners, noblesse guard that kind of walk by and they kind of like hold their ears and throw like something to the ground. They're like, damn, what was that? And they kind of like look at the ground, at their device. You, with a 17, this distortion effect, you definitely think it's some type of jammer. And it's the fact that it's getting louder and stronger means it's probably getting the source of it's probably getting closer to you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna like, hey Latricia, fish, get ready. I think we're about to.
Trish kind of
I
says,
mean,
understood. Also, I'm not able to get a message out to the bay.
yeah, yeah, they're jamming it, all right. They got jammers just like the other.
She kind of, as that happens, Imiko, you notice something, a few things from the clouds begin to drop down and slam into the ground. They don't explode,
yeah?
they
What the-
just slam to the ground, and then they kind of sit there for a moment. You can see several people, it lands into a couple of groups of soldiers that kind of start yelling and jumping out of the way. There's like, you count about like 8 or so that kind of land all around the area. There's some people that shoot, it looks like they shoot maybe about like another 6 others that were flying down, but these ones all seem to hit the ground. And then also following them, you see there are some Auroch Vein ships, some aircraft that start to kind of weirdly start falling out of the sky. You hear distorted message on your comm that say, Mayday, Mayday, our systems are not working. Something's EMP'd our systems. I repeat, I've never... And then, like, their signal cuts out as they start, like, falling into the trees and things like that around.
Is it like explosions or like only just like they just only fell?
It looks
Okay.
like they're these strange rod-shaped... I mean, you know what a missile is. It looks like a missile, but it doesn't... As you kind of look at it and kind of gleam a little bit, one's about like 50 feet or so away from you. You kind of hover a little bit closer to look at it, and you notice it starts to kind of fold open and then begins to spin. And it emits this strange kind of blue and black light, and then there is a flash of light, something hits your unit, and you start to kind of descend down to the ground. Your system kind of flashes back, like, on and off for a moment, as it says detection. Your system would say, detection, EM wave detected. Preparing secondary countermeasures. You start to hit the ground a little bit. Not it cuts on your thruster so you don't slam into the ground. But go ahead, sorry.
After that, I think I would like to reaction to like shoot it just in case.
Yep, shoot it. You start taking aim at it, and eventually it seems like since your systems are jamming for a moment, but something clicks on. Your system begins to like correct itself. Targeting's all working, things start flashing green. This also happened, you also notice on your exogear, you start to notice some of the systems seem to be disrupted for a moment. The Terror Blaster on your back starts to weigh a lot more. It's like the strength system almost like cuts out and then it cuts back on.
No.
It seems like those boxes that were on your units, those EM defenses, seem to be kicking on now. As that happens, and you shoot at one of the missiles, you take a couple of shots. It definitely seems to damage it, and it's starting to, like, you can see it starting to jam, like, kind of crackle back and forth, like it's beginning to get disrupted. And then you hear a loud echoing sound. You look towards the bay, or towards the docks in the south of the city, and there is what looks to be about 6 ships, Memorem somewhat ships, that start coming towards the bay. The dock is on fire right now. There are several fires at the docks. You can see there are aircraft flying around, shooting at the ships, with the ships shooting back at them. They are all brandishing the symbol that you recognize. The symbol that you saw once before. Where is it? Let me check.
Oh no, my boy! What happened to my boy?
Oh, your boy. What boy would you have?
My
to be
boy!
thinking about? Huh, where's the...
No, I think a split second, once she sees that like symbol, she is reminded of a crow, a baby.
Yes, 'cause he told
but
you
then it
about
like
the
splits.
system.
Yeah, but then she's locked the fuck in, and she's like reloading her stuff.
Let me check what the symbol... I just don't want to make... I think I mentioned the wrong symbol last time, so I don't want to do that. Yes, it is a symbol. It's shaped like a forearm, or it looks like a forearm as its central point. having the arm pointed upwards with a clenched fist around the wrist hanging slightly at an angle down around the third of the way down of the forearm is a purple and red cylindrical band that looks like it's kind of fashioned like a ring of fire. The skin of the arm at the base is dark brown, however, as it goes up, it shifts into a maroon shade with cords of shamrock green heliconia patterns at the top and bottom. It is the mark of the Retribution, as you know now. They are not just shooting back. In the city, you can see there is some commotions happening. The sound, even though the signals are being jammed, if they're close enough, you can hear some sparse bits. There are reports from a lot of Consortium people in the town talking about that they are under attack by an unknown force. They're noting that they seem to be using Gorgata or Memorem units. They're not sure as this attack is happening, and as if on cue, kind of cresting over the hills and coming up towards the summit, you can see several units. There is a lot. Eventually, the signal from your group begins to kind of simmer, and you can speak between each other without much issue. Macy will come on the line, and she kind of says, the system didn't work for a moment, but I think I got it. I think I got everything fixed. We're getting hit at the east side.
Well, how many of our sides are being attacked right now? Just only the east side?
She kind of looks. I can't really communicate with the others. God damn it! You hear like a loud explosion sound, and her signal goes down.
No.
No, what?
Did Pawnee try to practically communicate with
Yes.
any teammate that's not near her?
Who would you like to psychically communicate with?
I don't know where everybody is at this given moment.
Well, Macy's at the east. Your team is stationed in the front. There's a guild team with Noblesse at the back, and then there's a mostly team of, well, I would say probably Memorem and Memorem and Consortium and guild group for Noblesse group in the west.
First, I think I'll try to contact someone that's on the west side.
All right.
See if I'm helpful enough.
So you would know the general commanding officers of that area. I don't have names at the moment, but you would know who to contact if you need to contact someone immediately.
Okay.
So, which group you want to try contacting?
Noblesse.
All right. So we'll go with Commander. Let's go with a name here.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said.
Go. What are you doing here?
Commander. We'll go with Commander Martis. Yes, or Mortis. Yeah, we'll go Commander Mortis. Commander Mortis. You will get a ring of him, and you're gonna be like, what? What was that feeling I just had? You hear like in his mind.
This is the guild. I was trying to see how everything is over there.
Name and rank.
Pawnee, and then I'd state my rank.
Yep, guild special officer. Would be it. It's like Shadow Guardians. What are you all getting attacked there?
Yes.
Be careful of your Memorem units. There's some. It kind of says we've had a few turncoats in the area.
Okay. I will keep that in mind. How are you holding up over there?
We're holding up fine. Luckily, the machines, they shut them off or something, or someone shut them off. Seems we don't have to deal with the Memorem machines that were stationed here. But there are a few soldiers that are going around. They're fighting with each other. It's hard to figure out who's who.
Oh. What? We need to stop bickering back and forth and focus on the problem at hand.
No, I mean, you hear there's a loud, or actually you wouldn't hear a sound. There is white noise that fills, which fills your air for a moment.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Latricia's like, Pawnee, what's happening?
Yeah, what
I
happened?
tell Latricia and Emiko, who I contact and how, like, they're on the, is it the west side?
Yes, the west side.
And I tell them that they seem to be holding it well, but then the noise just went blank. I can't hear anything anymore.
Latricia said they could be
Someone
dead
has
or
to go to the
unconscious.
west.
If you can't hear them, if you can't connect with them psionically. She kind of looks over. You said they said to watch out for Memorem units, and it looks over at the others.
Yes.
You can see the 2 Memorem units stationed with you that were from Relka's team. They're not moving. Their units are the eyes in their units are dim. The lights are off.
Wait, hold on. I want to like try to like it open, just to see if
You
anyone's
open
in there.
faster.
Emiko, you
I'm
fly
always
over
careful.
to try to open it.
Yeah, open it up.
You open it up. You can see the pilots inside, and they kind of look at you like the guy kind of looks at you confusedly. He's like, seems like he's trying to kick like the console to start it, and he's like, "Not fucking."
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
happening
I
out there?
put in like the bad news. Apparently those idiots he points to it, the like blind fucking like enemies coming towards our position. Apparently rig your fucking mech to be shut down. Remote shutdown actually.
There was a
So,
there was a thing, an alert on the console. It said that emergency shutdown protocol was in place.
Yeah. That's the thing. Look under you right now.
He looks. It's like the switch has been pulled. God damn it. How did they expect us to fight
Yeah.
out here?
Oh, fuck. I looked at Trish. Trish, can you go and help them? See if you can like get them up and running.
The guy says, yes, I can. But that means you're gonna have to hold them off until I'm done.
Oh, believe me. She's like turning towards the horde, like coming
the
towards
horde?
it. I'm always. Yeah. How many is there right now?
The first wave of what you can see, I will tell you right now. As I'll move you guys to the map.
Oh boy. Just 2 of us?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, don't worry. We will be stopping here at the beginning of it, but
Oh, I know. So wait, which mech did we all get anyway?
Well, you
There's
got
mine,
Nameless. You got okay, that's not. Come on, there we go. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, here we go. No spoilery now. So this is what you guys see.
Oh.
There are in the north, cresting across the lawn and going across like the different parts of the walkways. You can see there's a group of what looks to be about 6 soldiers, Memorem spearmen like people, 2 red soldier units, which are Gorgata made units. They have that same symbol. They are kind of rushing up as well, moving towards the summit. You can see there's a group of 6 kind of running around here, making their way forward along the straight path. And then you can see there's another one that is in the south that has also made its way over here and is proceeding to push towards the summit.
Oh.
These units right here, these units, despite the fact that they say Black Adab, are not actually Black Adab units. They're the units that are shut down right now.
Okay.
But I should note there were other forces I mentioned, with you at the time. Most of those units are the first line of defense getting bombarded right now. These are the stragglers making it through.
Okay.
So that's why it's not like a siege of like 800 people, like, or not 800, but like 200 people coming across like the bounds of this area. You're only getting the pockets that get through.
Good.
Oh, Pepper.
Uh-oh.
Pepper.
Hey, Mrs. Mike.
Mike. You sound like robot.
Oh, kind of died.
Oh, wait, I think it's fine now.
Yeah, I don't have the map on me. Also, it's dark for me.
Oh, that's because you're not on the map. Or not, I haven't put you on the map. And this is where the fun part comes in. Where would you like to place yourselves?
Hmm.
Let's see.
I think, given that Apani is not in a mech, I think Apani's just going to choose next to Emiko.
Alright. Here, I'll put you on the map, Apani, so you can see. I'll put Titus there. Patricia
Hmm.
is in Nameless. I'll put that down. Emiko's Pearl unit.
In this situation, there's definitely safety in numbers.
Yup, it definitely is. Gwendolyn is flying overhead as well. Gwendolyn actually in the first round is well, not the first round. Gwendolyn is actually helping the Auroch Bane people that are like falling out of the sky right now. Some of their units seem to be cutting back on right before they're hitting the ground though, and like stopping them from smashing in to the ground, exploding. But they're trying to get their stuff on so they can provide air support. At the moment, you have no air support, which is bad because in the sky there are more streaks of rod-shaped things coming. There are more missiles on their way, and they're aiming not necessarily at the summit directly, but kind of in all your general directions. They're just kind of aiming haphazardly to bombard this area. But yeah, Elore is actually not at this gate at the moment. She's actually close to Macy, actually. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Chargers make you a cyborg. Yeah. So those two they're dealing with stuff in the north or in the not north but in the east, and they might try to come and help when they get the moment. So Emiko, you can see your guys' stuff on there. Feel free to place yourself where you want. We're not gonna actually do the combat today, so this is just where you're gonna sit.
Okay.
Brew is also back in the building, so he is not here. Oh, I don't have you know what? I actually don't have Seiyun's Redeemer ready, do I? No. That's fine. We'll use the Savior Soul for now, but like I have the stats for what it is, so. We got a big map here. But yes, all this is kind of things are kind of happening as they are. And through the distortion, Emiko, there's a moment where you hear it sounds like someone's voice that you haven't heard before say the words, "The retribution is upon us. Prepare, Consortium. It is time to pay." And that is the last thing you hear.
What a fucking dork.
Funny enough, that was actually a decent 2 hours. I think we could probably make this session. I know it was me talking the entire time, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's alright. You're all good.
So we will see you all in the next part where we will actually have the combat start. So, bye-bye.